Fans of a Horus Heresy, thank you very much for joining me for an out-of-the-pack review for a faction that has not seen any releases from Forge World for quite some time. And of course that is the Solar Auxilia, and the vehicle we are looking at today is this chappy here, the Aurox Armoured Transport. I picked this up from Warhammer World on Sunday, just gone, on my way back from Dorset, having visited Tiger Day 9 at the Bovington Tank Museum, and even Stonehenge on the way back. Some fun Twitter pics on the twits if you like that. As we've got this, of course, I'm going to do you my usual review. And what we're going to do in this video is we're going to get this miniature out of the pack. We're going to take a look at the parts, we're going to see what it's about, and we're going to appraise the quality of this full resin kit. Without further ado, let's get into it. As I mentioned, this is the first time in a couple of years, if not more, that we've had any releases for the Solar Auxilia. And the Solar Auxilia are a little bit sparse at the moment. If I recall correctly, the last Solar Auxilia models that we saw were the Velataris with power axes and possibly the rapiers. Sadly, a few days ago, and with very little forewarning from Forge World, the rapier batteries went out of production. So it's nice to see something new for the Auxilia. So inside the pack we get a tray of parts and some instructions. The Aurox is an armoured personnel carrier and it holds about 10 people, so it's analogous to a Rhino. However, the Forge World guys thought, oh well, let's sculpt something looking different for flavour points. Firstly, let's check the packing sheet. So this was packed on the 20th of April by NJ, usual working with resin and all that sort of jazz info there. So this is a freshly packed kit, and then we have the instructions. So before we look at the actual kit, let's have a quick look at the instructions. Here we have a CAD render of the Aurox, and for those of you who like the fluff, have a pause and have a read. Here we have an exploded view of the Aurox. First obvious thing that will immediately strike the observant amongst us all is the fact that this vehicle has interior detailing. So two vehicles released by Forge World and two in a row have interior detailing, because the last vehicle we saw, the Terrax Termite Assault Drill, also had internal detailing. So, well, we get the usual modern style CAD rendered construction guide for the model. We shall see later on, once I've built it and come back to review it, how effective the instructions are. Looks a fairly straightforward build, essentially a box with a few details on it. Okay, let's start by looking at the parts. We'll start with the big ones. This is a fairly small box. This is one of the smaller boxes that Forge World do, and the kit costs £58. Is it an expensive kit? Is it not an expensive kit? It's not a big vehicle, so it looks relatively more expensive in some ways. However, as always with Forge World, what drives the cost is part count as opposed to vehicle size. Let's have a look around the, what's this? Is this the left or the right? This is the right hand side track unit. Lots of familiar design cues and detailing. We have the Chimera or Malcador pattern style track. Got some nice design cues here. Those of you who know, let's say, the Minotaur artillery vehicle will probably be familiar with. This is good. So we've got the design here. So for the key attachment point, we've got track cutout, which means we can clean the key up and then attach the track piece without any loss of detail. So I do like that. Now let's see what the alignment's like. This is a brand new model, so fresh out the molds, or pretty fresh out. A little bit of scratchiness there to clean up, not too bad. See, this has got to come away. A small seam, very small seam to take away there. And then probably the biggest cleanup job, if you wanting to do internal detailing, is going to be removing the remains of the shim on this crew access door on the side. That looks good, looks very good. Let's do the second part. So this is the left-hand side of the hull, or the left-hand track unit perhaps. Bit of flash doesn't matter. A little bit of a seam again to clean up here, a little bit more scratchy than the other one. Probably a bit untidy in this nook here. And I'm gonna have to carefully remove this gate here while preserving this rivet detail. Definitely some work to do in there to get that all clean and true. This door looks a bit cleaner, but definitely going to be some cleanup and filling required to get all that looking really good. Still, overall, that is well cast, looks very nice. Now the floor of the vehicle. Again, we've got the internal detailing, the grille on the underside of the vehicle. The underside of the vehicle itself is detailed, which is nice to see. Okay, that's good. This is the front of the vehicle, so the front hull. Nice design cues taken from the Dracosan Armoured Transport. This vehicle is around half the size of a Dracosan, well certainly in terms of transport capacity. I think it's still quite a large vehicle. Despite its relatively high cost for its battlefield value, I mean you're looking at 25, 35 points depending if you field this militia or Solar Auxilia. It does fill a really useful tactical niche by giving these armies a smaller transport, and in particular the Solar Auxilia, because previously we've been limited to the large Dracosan Armoured Transport. Good, some really nice internal detail in there, bit of pipe work, the driver's cabin, nice design on the door hatch there, I do like that. And then we've also got a hatch for a gunner or a tank commander to stand in. Little bits of cleanup to do here and there, but overall that is very nice. Looks really nice and crisp. All the parts so far have felt nice and dry as well. Right, let's do the upper hull. Yeah, nice internal detailing. Now, this hatch here, that looks a bit messy and scratty that. So that is definitely going to require a fair bit of cleanup and maybe some filling. Of course, if you're sticking the hatches on, then I don't think you need to bother with that. I'll probably go for hatches open. And it looks like we've got a bit of a warp to take out here. Oh yeah, definitely. So you can get to this. Yeah, you can see this piece is way off true. So I'm not quite sure how that's supposed to look, but that's going to need some heat bending to get it in shape. Right, let's move on to, what should we do next? Hatches. The hatches are designed in such a way they open. The rear ramp, so that is hinged, and you can see that here. A little air bubble and a seam to take off there. A nice internal detailing continued through from the underside, and then these are side hatches. Yeah, I think these are the first two of a side door that are going to go in those openings. They're good. Detail on the inside and out again. Let's do the other side. Very good. All look nice. Nicely cast. Sticking with the theme of hatches, this thing has got a lot of hatches. Perhaps this is the most hatchalicious vehicle ever. This is the driver or the commander's hatch. And finally, we have these two, which is the rear deck hatches, or which are the rear deck hatches. Again, internal detailing all the way through. Without a shadow of a doubt, if you're looking for a model project to do as a nice internal paint job, this kit seems like an excellent candidate. And given its fairly straightforward design and small size, I don't think there's any real production or design compromises in giving it the internal detailing. Right, here we've got the small sections of a track that are going to go onto the runoff gate points on track units. We've got this, which is the step for the tank commander. And then this here, yes, that's the weapon handle for the heavy stubber, which we're about to come to. Seamage to clean up on that part. It's a bit untidy on one side. Next we have a pair of exhaust stacks. Got a slight slip running all the way down that, so that'll need to come away. And a somewhat bigger and more noticeable slip there. Forge will often struggle with getting parts like this consistently cast well. I've had some real stories with the Malcador tank I had, or the pair of Malcador tanks I originally had. I sold one. I suppose there's certainly some work to do there, but that will all go nice and true once I finish working on it, so acceptable. And then finally, we'll finish off with the guns and ammo section of this review with the one weapon option, which is the heavy stub gun. People familiar with Death Corps of Krieg vehicles will certainly recognise this design. Looks nicely cast, good alignment on the recoil spring, absolutely essential on these, so that is good to see. Sad thing is here, we don't get a weapon option in this kit, and I would have expected this to have come with an alternative multi-laser. And at this point I hear you say in the comment section, but leaky cheese, you can buy the tank gunner weapon crew for the Solar Auxilia tank where you get a heavy flamer and a multi-laser. Well, no you can't actually, because Forge will, only as far as I could tell it, a day or two's notice, took the Solar Auxilia vehicle weapon kit out of production and it is no longer available. Yeah, that is a bit of a disappointment, and in my view, unless Forge will do something to give us some alternatives and oversight, because for those of us who like to model our vehicles accurately, where's the option now to put, you know, an authentic Forge or multi-laser or a heavy flamer onto this? You know, it's conversion time, isn't it? Obviously it's a nice weapon, but they should have included at least the multi-laser as a weapon option, given what they've done with the other kit in retiring it. Anyway, I will talk about that more when I come to do a final assembled review on this model. So I'll see how I go with the build on this. I might do a video where I talk about fitting this together and doing the assembly. In particular, there might be a good piece to do with a little demo on this part, heat bending it back into the correct shape. And then following on from that, I'll do a review of the fully assembled and completed model. There you have it then, the Aurox Armoured Transport for the Solar Auxilia and the Imperialis Militia in the Horus Heresy. Those are my thoughts on this vehicle. What do you think about this somewhat interesting addition and almost, dare I say it, cute vehicle that's been added to this range? Please let me know your thoughts in the comments as always. I'll be very interested to hear. But other than that, I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching. I'll speak to you next time, and goodbye.